Chapter 12. Quite the Bind. Did they guide us to choose Phobos over Deimos? 27th of December, 2033, 4:36 p.m. Folder Dominion, Eternal Library. Mana signature C50984. Physical location, Phobos. I rose. Eventually. I tried and failed to clean the scuff marks and scratches my wings had left, retracted the offending appendages, then stood. Shimon's expression reminded me of one of the worst days I'd ever had as a mother. Daryl, my youngest son, left the front door wide open. Max, our beloved cat, slipped out and bolted for the road. Daryl was 4 and knew no better, but I had to be the one that told him that Max wouldn't be waking up. Right then, I felt like Daryl had felt, and Shimon looked at me the way I'd looked at my son. We fail so many times in life. Each time, we rise carrying one more burden. And just like Daryl, I rose again. Eventually. I really needed to find a way to contact him and the rest of my family, but I'll need a method Houston can't listen in on. Shimon's words cut me out of reminiscence and daydream alike. We need a plan, came his clinical voice. He was right, of course. Logic said to think of the crisis first, then my family. But it was hard, even for me. Power attracts power. I believe the sublime ranked realm is chasing me, not you. In Kabira, sacrificing this place was the least bad option, and I've hated the cost ever since. I always put the world first, myself second, and the knowledge here third. Now, the world is safe from him, and I can see a way to protect this place, grant myself an opportunity at great risk, and help you as well. But I need something from you. What did you have in mind? I asked. I plan to enter the wild realm, Shimon replied, and should help you, though that is not the reason why I will take the risk. If it is at the weaker end of S-rank realms, I may be able to conquer it. It's a huge risk, and I'll probably fall or have to flee, but if I succeed, binding it would revitalize my future. And if you fail? I asked. If I'm lucky, I will flee. If not, I won't be the first person to die chasing power, and I won't be the last. It's your risk to take. What do you need me to do? I need you not to bind this library. Store it in your folio of realities instead. Compiling it was my life's work before the Imperator. I'd hate to see it lost in a realm rupture. Wait, what's a realm rupture? I asked. You don't even know that? He asked, interjecting before I could answer. No, of course you don't. When you're struck with a mortal blow, one of your bound realms will sometimes take the blow for you. It's damaging to the realm and terribly inefficient. A realm may spend 10,000 stored mana to prevent harm that mere hundreds of mana could have healed. Realms struck hard enough can be irrevocably lost, their entire contents consumed. I could see why he did not want this place bound. How does this work? I followed up. If you know the hit is coming, your will alone can deflect it. If you're caught off guard, any blow severe enough will be deflected. Have you ever fired your crossbow? No, wait, you said the word is handgun? Have you ever fired that at a monster and seen something burst? Yes, I remembered it well. I told him of the eldritch monster that had attacked Brimfall and how meat, flesh, and blood had fountained from it. But what about when people live inside one of these bound realms? I added that we suspected, correctly it turned out, the realms with people living in them long term are called folded dominions instead. People loved living in folded dominions, right up until the Imperator bound entire cities that rebelled against him. It's been 12,000 years for me since Gomorrah ruptured in fire, and I still cannot forget that smell. If I live 1,000 times 1,000 more years, I will still never forget that. You mean the people there? I whispered. It was a C-rank realm. Shimon's jaw tightened. Hundreds of miles across. 600 times 1,000 souls and more. My rescue crew recovered 137 souls. Anyone who was not outside the realm within half a second of the blow burned, was lost to the void, or was crushed into a fine mist that sprayed over the sands. Oh, I shuddered. Words failed me at the thought of hundreds of thousands being used as human shields. I need to tell you something. The village you gave this realm's access coin to, I bound it not knowing any of this. People still live there. There's nothing you can do for them now. You can only replace a bound realm with one of equal or higher rank. and when you do so, you can store your lowest rank bound realm in your folio of realities. I assume your folded dominion is your D rank realm. F rank realms are too small to sustain people across thousands of years. It would be 2,000 in most F ranks and 4,000 in most D ranks, or 12 and a bit thousand here. I filed away this confirmation on how timescaling worked. Confirmation was good. You didn't need to be a scientist to realize that us failing to falsify a hypothesis didn't make it true. And there I was again, thinking of the mission as us. No, Elishia, face reality. It never was you and two friends. Now, it's you versus a rat. The math nerd in me saw a pattern, and I had to ask, even if it was the wrong moment. 1, 2, 6... Is the next time factor 24? I asked. Yes. Each rank is better than the last, and the gap widens every time. 1 year in a C rank is 4 in a B rank. 1 year in a B rank is 5 in an A rank. I've never been in anything beyond an astral realm myself, but I've heard the pattern continues. So 5 seconds on the surface of Phobos is an hour for you once you enter the wild realm. Yes. I don't think I need to explain how dangerous that allows the denizens to become. It has been 1,000 times 1,000 years and more since anyone entered to harvest it. But grave dangers come with grand treasures. You'll face that alone. How do you think I became this strong? Harvest and bind powerful realms. Create powerful items or trade for them. Take calculated risks, but never cross lines if you can't live with yourself afterward. I had to be strong to fight the Imperator, but I had to make sure I did not become everything I hated about him. You mentioned creating items, I said. I pulled out the ingots I'd taken from the Mirror Forge. 2 ingots of ghost metal and 1 of adamantius. The ghost metal was almost invisible, the adamantius felt impossibly durable. I wish I'd taken the ultra heavy ingot, but the trader had it now. The other ghost metal ingots and the Arium were just gone. As lost as Megan. Can I do anything useful with these? Or would they help you? Of course, I keep forgetting how little you know. Take this, he said. He sketched a gesture, and parchment formed between his hands, ink flowing into it in tight, exquisite lines. A treatise. Read it when you have a moment. It explains the system's balance between creation and destruction. You can only choose one path. Either you can devour realms, or you can create wonders. I already knew my answer. I'm not devouring realms. The idea horrifies me. My choice was final, even without knowing this consequence. Good. On that, we agree. I have no need for your F and D rank metals. If you have plants or herbs, I'll take those. Keep your metals, turn them into good armor as soon as you can. Create in C rank folded realms or better when possible. And look for items the system names, but it doesn't explain at all. I recall your society can mass produce those hand guns without using magic, so you might want to specialize in enchanting. And check if the system can enhance your special materials, like the clear sapphire on your visor. We had nothing like that in my day. This man was a treasure trove of information, and the idea of combining modern materials science with magic was frighteningly clever. The least I could do was get his library back to Earth somehow, and try to help him get there as well. If he could master the S-rank realm in the 400-odd days before our launch window home, he might actually make it. If the time pattern continued, that should give him about 800 years inside. I told him the plan. Before I had even finished speaking, time froze and a menu appeared. Enter pact with Shimon. You agree not to bind the Eternal Library. He accepts your promise as full and final settlement for debts accrued through information exchange. Both parties agree to take reasonable steps to help each other return to Earth. The language was legalistic and unexpectedly modern. I select yes, and Shimon let out a breath I had not realized he was holding. Was this too low a price? It certainly didn't feel like it. We discussed the plan a little more, then I followed Shimon's directions precisely to tie the library to an empty point just outside the familiar 3 dimensions, sliding it into my folio of realities. The now familiar, but still wondrous sensation of the world folding into a point, then unfolding into something else, consumed the library again. Shimon didn't walk towards the 24 cell. He ran, unaffected by the disorienting microgravity, moving as easily as an athlete on a training jog. He touched the complex shape, and both shape and man faded, as though phasing slightly outside reality. True to Shimon's predictions, the portal stopped moving after he entered. Just how powerful was he? I had not dared to ask, but I assumed he was brilliant or astral rank, as far above me as I was above normal people now. He thought I was competent rank and clearly saw me as no threat, except perhaps in the moment between offering the pact and my acceptance. Had that been a moment of true weakness for him? It did not matter. I had neither the capacity nor the desire to betray him. Looking around, I identified 5 tetrahedrons marking F rank folded realms, 1 cube marking a D rank, and an octahedron marking a C rank. I remembered Shimon's final words after I agreed to his pact. The system rewards the bold. I tried to say, time to prove myself competent, failed because there was no air, then walked into the octahedron portal. Just before it snapped into place around me, Dean's voice sprung back into my head. New quest, to boldly go home, part 1 of 2. Before binding any further lesser realms, bind 2 competent rank folded realms. Partial reward after binding 1, contact with select individuals on Earth. Relief washed over me. The partial reward alone would be enough to contact my family. Jenny and the kids would be terrified, but I had no way to reach them without Houston hearing everything, and the world was not ready for the news of what we'd found on Phobos. The whole world had been a tinderbox since Eritrea discovered those lithium deposits, and magic could be the spark that tips it into war. The world folded into a point, and a battlefield unfolded in its place. Folded Dominion, Battle Helix, rank C. Mana signature, C53171. Time factor, 6-1. 2 lines of combatants stared at me, and the octahedron that I had entered through, in awe. To my left, older humans, men and women alike, clutched improvised weapons and formed a shield wall around children and infants. To my right, insectile humanoids with red, leathery wings and horned heads raised lances of fire and prepared to breach the line. I did not know why either side fought, but I had seen enough to choose a side. Nobody attacks children while I can stop them. I raised my handgun, aimed at a fearsome figure several rows back in the part demon, part insect, part human monster formation, and fired. The shot hit. For a heartbeat, nothing happened. Then, frost spidered across its chest, and the ground beneath it began to glow.